to edit.
You need to get that intro song already.
I know. We need an intro for sure.
Brandon said he'll do it.
And we're live. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jarizi, and we almost have the whole crew with us. We got Danny, Jermaine, PQ, Francis, and a very special guest today. This guy is more than a coach to all of us. I would say almost a father figure to all of us as well. We've all had stories about him personally. Coach Galloway. Coach Galloway, welcome to the Cave Podcast. Thank you for coming on. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on.
Man, when I told the guys I booked you, everyone lit up, and I was like, and then everyone shared their own personal story with you. I was like, hey, let's save it for the podcast. Yeah. Oh man, it's been a while. And for the people listening that are students or players from Coach Galloway, we are from the original class of Beckman High School.
2008.
I mean, I don't know about Francis because he came in as a sophomore, but you got to check his transcript real quick. But all of us been there for freshman year, and that was when we came and crossed paths with Coach Galloway. Coach Galloway, how's Beckman these days?
It's going good. They're building new building. They're building a new gym right now, and we have added, I think, 3 new buildings since you guys graduated.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. Also, they've turfed all the football field.
Saw that.
They put lights on the auxiliary field right now. So it's getting bigger and better.
Awesome.
Wow.
Sounds better because, I mean, I remember when we were practicing out in that concrete field. Coming out with scabs and, that was rough.
And pebbles in your skin and things like that. By the way, Coach, so have there been any other championship successes in sports since back then? I know there was girls softball went to CIF, and then a couple years after our class, football went to CIF. Is that correct?
Yeah, football went to CIF 2 years in a row.
Damn.
End up losing and I can't think of the years, but the first CIF championship game, we lost to Garden Grove by 1. Garden Grove went for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to win it.
Wow.
They also at the time had the best running back in Orange County, who eventually he didn't go to college. He didn't have the grades to go, but outstanding running back. And then the next year we went to CIF Championship after being league champs, beating CDM for a league championship.
Wow.
We met up again with them in the CIF Championship, and we were down by 1. At the end of the game, we went for a 2-point conversion, and we didn't make it.
Oh, man.
Fuck CDM.
So that's the last time that is that the last time that any sport has made it that far?
It's baseball has won and has gone a few times. I'm not sure when, but our baseball program is always top notch. We got a couple of guys that are in the pros right now. And our volleyball program, boys volleyball program, is constantly climbing up the ladder. Last year they were ranked 6th in the nation.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
So in regards to like the success of the football team, I had spoken to players who were under our year, and I know that there was a division or a league change. Is that correct? Or a division change? So the opponents within the league and the division that all changed. Do you recall that?
Yeah, CIF is doing some crazy things now. You can your league, normally your league is all in the same division of CIF. So if your league was in Division 2, everybody was in Division 2. Now it's not that way anymore. You can have your number 1 team in your league could be in Division 2, and your number 3 team could be in Division 7.
Wow. Okay.
So
yeah, that's way different.
Right, and they do this point system. You can be in Division III this year and have a bad year and drop down to Division V, and then have a good year and go back up to Division IV. So it's all over the place right now for football, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Are you still coaching football currently?
This year, I took this year off of football.
Okay.
I coached last year. I've been that guy that, whatever the head coach needed me, that's where I would go. And I went down and coached freshmen for a couple of years, back to varsity. And this year I just took a year off.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Still defensive backs or linebackers?
Well, anything the coach asked me to do. My number one is the defensive backs. I've been defensive coordinator. I've been helping out, and my biggest thing is training other coaches on how to coach these things. So, because I'm not going to do it forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's actually something I wanted to ask you specifically. Is where, how did you receive the training, or where did your coaching skills come from? Because I remember, like, while being a student there, you had this approach where you could cater to different personalities, and you knew how to approach, each player as an individual, to their strengths and their weaknesses in the best way that they'd receive the instructions you're trying to give them.
Also, you not only coach football, you coach basketball as well. So it's how you want it,
Right.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of coaches coach, playing football in high school and in college. I took a little bit from the coaches I like, and things that they didn't do, things that I didn't like, I was not going to do as a coach. And I've felt that I've always wanted to be a player's coach, advocate for the players, not just for the X's and O's. For all the things that are going around in life, because I didn't grow up in Irvine. I grew up in Long Beach, which was rough, and I had to have somebody listen to my everyday problem, just getting to school, and if I didn't have a coach that would listen to me, I was going through difficult times, and so I wanted to be a coach that was always had an open ear for any student that needed somebody to listen to them.
Right. Definitely. Awesome.
That's what makes you the best coach.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm happy to still see you there, because we've had so many coaching changes as far as football goes. I'm not sure how basketball has gone with that since, but we have a lot of coaching shuffles. It's Coach Mustaine, and then we had Shambaugh come in, and it's nice to see that you're still there. It just shows how valuable you are to Beckman.
Well, thank you. It's I said to somebody, I can work for anybody, and there's been some coaches here that very difficult to work with. And Shambaugh was one.
Not to name names, but
I'm naming them.
we had to learn to work together, because my position on staff is that 95% of the things that I do as my job makes the sports program successful, or help them stay successful. And without having that working relationship with all the coaches, it's very difficult. And so I had to make sure the coach understood that from 6 to 2:30, I'm working. After 2:30, I'm coaching, and we have to separate the two.
Right. In like the when there was a transition, as they just said, from Mustaine to Shambaugh. I know it was a while ago, but in the teams that went to CIF, were those under Shambaugh's coaching, or was that a different coach?
Shambaugh last year as a head coach, we went to, that was our first CIF championship game we went to.
Okay, and then there was a different head coach after that.
Right, it was Ken Mashinsky. He came in right after he was from Riverside area. He came in and he took those kids and ended up going to CIF championship as well.
Yeah. Oh wow, okay. And one thing, I just kind of a more technical question. I'm just curious, what offense and defense were you guys running in the second year at CIF?
We were more of a running team. We ran a little bit of the double wing, and then we would spread it out. I shouldn't say the double wing, the wing T. Defensively, I think at that time we were of a 4-3 defense, but we slipped in and out of different things based on the personnel and what the other teams were trying to do.
Okay, yeah, that's very cool. It's cool to see those things. A lot of us, we watch like the football documentaries, like Last Chance U or Coach Prime, things like that. So for me, it's like really interesting to know the ins and outs of what the staff is doing and how they're scheming.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's a lot of sometimes I say in meetings it's good to agree to disagree. A lot of arguments over what we should do, what we shouldn't do. The bottom line, the head coach is going to make the decision, and it's not everybody's going to be happy.
Right.
But there's a lot of politics behind the scenes that goes on that and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And
right, yeah,
roll with.
Sure.
I think we all got a taste of that too. I think as the players, we all saw that going on.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. Like Jermaine said, it's realizing, like, a lot of times in the moment, it was like not something that I realized immediately, but looking back, I could see that, and it's kind of crazy, even at the high school level, that there's so many politics that can change, like, almost to say like that the best player is not always going to play.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and I have stories. I could write a book.
You should
write that shit.
You need to write that book.
I have a title. This is The Season of Discontent.
There you go.
It's coming soon.
Right there.
It's going to be on HBO Max or something. Right?
ESPN 30 for 30, Coach Galloway.
That's funny.
Hey, Coach, can you speak on because I know you coach football, but you're also very successful on basketball as well. I've actually followed the Beckman basketball Instagram, and to see the freshman team just continually kicking people's asses from year to year is fucking amazing. Can you just speak on like how you're able to do that? Because each group of kids are freshmen. They're always going to be different with different skills, different weaknesses. So how are you able to maintain that consistency and just being successful every year from the basketball perspective?
Yeah, plus the politics of pulling certain key players to different like JV teams and stuff.
Yeah.
I just tell the kids, well, first off, when I get a new group of kids, in the summertime, I just let them play, and I'm not trying to teach them a lot of X's and O's. I want to see what they can do. Yeah. And then it's a puzzle, and you're trying to find that piece that's missing or the piece that fits and put it all together. And one of the things that, I love about the kids that I coach is that I treat them as if they don't know basketball because they got to learn my style.
Yeah.
And my style is you give it everything you got every single play, or you don't play. And it's simple. You're diving for a loose ball. You're going to play strong. You have to have this, you have that dog in you. I say, I tell the kids, what's the difference between confidence and cocky? Like that. Confidence is you're confident in everything you do, and I want you to be confident in everything you do for me on the basketball floor. And that's the way they go about it.
Right.
I mean, you keep it nice and simple, which is sometimes that's all kids want is just make it black and white. What do I got to do? And then you make it simple. So that's awesome that you keep that mindset.
And not only that, you made a great point of letting them play, because one thing that I really
let the kids play.
When we were going out on the field, I think many times coaches just said, "Hey, go out and have fun," because at the end, we could go through the different schemes, through the different plays, and a lot of mental, a lot of the mental aspect of the game goes in. But at the end, when you go out there, just just have fun. And I think that's important for mainly, especially kids going into high school.
Right. That's my number one thing. If you're not having fun, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You got, and so we're going to put in the work, and we're going to have a lot of fun putting in the work. That grind is hard, but hey, let's have fun doing it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to have fun, the best record that I've had from a team, I kicked them out of the gym one time because they wasn't having fun.
Yeah.
And I sent them home. And I told them there's no reason for me to be in the gym with 15 kids or not having fun when I got 2 at home and we're 7 blocks from Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right downtown Disney and have fun. I don't need to be in the gym with you guys. I got kids at home.
Yeah.
And next day of practice, we had too much fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. Man.
When you say not having fun, were they just kind of robotic and doing the drills, or
they were going through the motion? I mean, I walked in because my first 30 minutes of practice, most of the time, I'm not even in the gym. I say, if I have to be in the gym to watch you stretch, to make you run, to make you do layups, then you don't want to be here. You guys got to do that on your own. You got to be able to facilitate that and coach each other up on that. So I walked in the gym and there was no excitement. It was like a morgue. And I sent them on a baseline, and I don't make kids run, for punishment, because running is what we do.
Yeah.
So running is not a punishment. So I sent them to the baseline, and it was like, that's a shock because we don't go here, And I said, I don't know what happened before I got in the gym, but you guys are not having any fun. If this is the way practice is going to be, practice is over. I'm not mad at you. Something went wrong somewhere down the line, and you guys are not having fun. So I'm going to end practice. I'm going to go home and go on a bike ride with my kids to downtown Disney and have some fun, because there's no reason for me to be in here with you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll come back tomorrow. We'll figure it out, and we'll get at it, because we have a game in 2 days. Gentlemen, have a good night. Understanding, I'm not mad at you. Let's not come back this way tomorrow.
Was it a 6:30 morning practice? Because I get it.
No, it was a 2:30 practice. I guess they didn't get any love in class. I don't know.
That's awesome. Because you're able to. Okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to speak on that real quick, because when you're 14, a freshman, you're kind of put on the spot to think of adult situations, because sometimes you don't want to do things, but you got to come to everything that you do the right way and have fun with it. So that's pretty awesome. You put them in a situation where they got to look at themselves in the mirror and just be like, what the fuck am I doing right now? He's right. So they came back to practice the next day and then did that damn thing. So that's fucking cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Why? Because fucking in school, no one teaches these kids to figure out what they want to be or what are they doing with themselves. Just do your schoolwork. I don't know what I'm doing in my life. But it's nice to see that you instill those values in your players, to say, either you want it or you don't. And I've seen on your Instagram how you open up the court. I don't know if you've always done it, because obviously I wasn't on the basketball team, but you open up the gym at 6 a.m. for open gym before school. And I always thought that was cool of you to do. It's kind of you giving them every opportunity to get better. And I thought that it's really cool that you do that. It shows how much you care about the players. And I think that's why everyone gravitates to you, because they actually feel that love you're giving them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you. Yeah. It's, I get here at 6 a.m. The gym is empty. We got all these things, shooting machines, all this stuff that don't get used in a normal day practice. I said, well, why do we have them?
Mm-hmm.
So if the kids want to come in the morning and they want to pull them out and use them. So, one of the things is I taught the kids how to do it. This is how you pull a shooting machine out. This is how you set it up. This is, it took a little time. And then once they start learning, so now it's your job to teach the next guy.
Right.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And my whole philosophy is, and especially with the freshmen, even in football, I said in football, we're only as good as our last guy.
Yeah.
And if we can't coach the last guy up, and then that's, when it's his turn to play, because that last guy might be the third string guy, and he's 2 plays away from being a starter, because if the starter gets hurt, second string down in, he gets hurt now, and he's the guy, and we didn't work on him. We didn't train him. Now we count on that guy to, to hold his spot, and we got to win with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna put the rock in his hand. He's got to run it in.
And that's been my biggest things with coaches, who say, well, they're freshmen.
Mhm.
Okay, somewhere down the line, that freshman's going to play for you. And so if you're not showing them any love or teaching them the right way and making them be accountable, then when they get up to your level, then you're like, well, what happened all this other time? Well, nobody showed them the right way. And so that's why I'm on the freshman level most of the time, because I want them to make sure that they're successful at the next level.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, currently with all the new, minutes management, time management, sports psychologists, all these new facets of competitive sports now, what makes you valuable is the fact, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, was you're more than a coach. You're almost that father figure for students. And being in the field where I work with a lot of kids, I feel like mental health has been more of an increasing issue in our society. And social media doesn't help that. And there's a lot of studies that show that. And I mean, for me, like, I remember going through tough times at the time where you would open the gym later than usual, or stay a few hours after practice just to work on my shot. So to that, I mean, you help one person, you help 1,000 people, right? So for me personally, I'm always appreciative of that, and I can almost guarantee that I'm not the only one that has reaped the benefits of making contact with you. So really appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we all love your mindset. We all love your coaching philosophy, but let's take a few steps back. I know you kind of mentioned a bit that you played sports in college or in high school and college. Give us a little background of your sports career. What sports and where did you play?
All right. I played football at Long Beach Poly. So I'm a jackrabbit like that. And, it was hard. But like I tell the kids, back then, in my year or at Poly, there's so much talent, so many athletes that you couldn't afford to take a day off. You couldn't afford to lollygag in practice because that guy behind you is trying to take your job. Like he wants to play just as well as you. And so you couldn't go soft. That day, where's my buddy? I'm gonna let him look good today. No, you're at Poly. That guy just now is your starter, right? So that's where I get my philosophy that you got to work hard all the time. But I played at Long Beach Poly. We my year we went to the CIF Championship. They got to play in Anaheim Stadium, and where the Rams used to play, and that was probably one of the funnest games of my life. We played against Servite and we lost, and they had Steve Berline. If you look him up, he was a professional quarterback, and he torched us. But it was fun, and I learned a lot about just being a good person. Okay. Now it wasn't always fun at Poly. There was some things that happened to me there. I missed Hell Week, my junior year, and I couldn't play varsity. I had to play JV, and I had to sit the bench for 3 games because I missed Hell Week. Okay. Wow. And why did I miss Hell Week? It's because I was being honored as Youth of the Year for the city of Long Beach, and I was in Washington, D.C. representing the city, and the coaches did not care.
Wow.
I was
talk about politics.
Right.
You did not
That's
care.
nice.
If you missed Hell Week, you were not playing varsity, and I had to make a decision, and I knew that, and I decided, when is a kid like me, with 5 brothers, 1 sister, mom, raising us, going to be able to send me to Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I read about it. I've seen all the pictures. I wanted to go touch it.
Yeah.
Right. Of course.
And so play varsity or go to D.C. I went to D.C.
I think anyone would make that decision. I think any one of us here, if we were given that opportunity, would take it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And but that happened, and I did not like the coaches for their decision. I actually was going to quit, and my brother wouldn't let me quit. Going into my senior year, at the time, Congressman Dan Lundgren, who was running the organization called Capital Classroom, that I went to DC with, called me and said, "Hey, I want you on my staff. We're going to DC again." And he told me the dates, and it was during Hell Week going into my senior year. So I went and talked to my coaches, and they told me if I didn't go to Hell Week, I will sit the bench. And I had to make a decision. And my decision was, I'm going to DC. And so I went to DC, and probably one of the greatest experience. I got to go in the White House. Not too many people can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to sit on the Senate floor. I got to do a lot of different things, and I went back and I took my punishment. I sat on the bench for 3 games, and I had to fight just to get some playing time, even though I was better than the guy starting over me.
Yeah,
Right.
it's frustrating.
That is frustrating.
And I got into game number 4, and I never came out. And I started the rest of the year, and then after that I went to and I was trying to accept a scholarship to Oregon. I wanted a big name. Long Beach State wanted to give me a football scholarship, and I went with the big name, and it didn't work out, and I got sent home. And so then I ended up going to Cerrito City College.
Oh, nice.
And playing there, with a few injuries here and there. And then I went to Kentucky, and then, got a chance to play there a little bit, and tore my shoulder, and I came home and, finished my education and ended up teaching science in San Diego.
Wow.
Very cool. So you played for University of Kentucky. You're a Wildcat for a little bit.
I was a Wildcat for a little bit. I went to Morehead State. So I was going back and forth, and it was a part of my college that I wanted to not think about. It was a lot of racism sometimes in certain areas. You get homesick because people are not treating you right. I was a youngster. I was, I was a 16-year-old senior, 17-year-old freshman in college. So by the time I got to Kentucky, I was still like 19 years old. I was still a little kid, and everybody else was like 22, 23, and, but I learned a lot about life. I learned a lot about who I was going to be later on in life. And I always knew I wanted to coach, and I was just taking bits and pieces from the coaches that I liked. And even the coaches I didn't like, I liked that he did that, but then he complicated with this. I'm never doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I mimic some of the good things and add my little flavor to it.
Wow. That's awesome. Just recently went to a sermon about communication, and they said to pick 3 communicators that you look up to and you want to find flaws in them, not necessarily to look down on them, but to view them as colleagues so that you can absorb that and improve yourself. So it's cool seeing that play out in your mentality of coaching as well.
Yeah. And so Coach, and Jerezy already kind of sprinkled in some of the personal experiences he had with you. And your story about how, you ended up going to DC your junior year, and that took away your ability to play varsity. It brings me back to one of the longer conversations we had with my time at Beckman was when for different reasons, I was never recognized or sent to Washington, but for different reasons, the same thing happened to me my junior year. And I forgot where we went to camp going into the junior year season, but that's when they told me that I wasn't going to have like a full-time position like on the varsity team. And the first day of practice, coming back from camp, I was like hesitant. I almost didn't go back to playing. I arrived like probably like an hour late or something, and other teammates were calling me and stuff. And I remember that day, you were the one who I spoke to about like what I was feeling, and I really was like conflicted at that time. I'll never forget. I mean, it's been so many years now, but I won't forget how I felt. And I have to attribute that conversation I had to you with not quitting and continuing through junior year and senior year. And I think that was the best thing that could have happened. So I want to thank you for that, and all the conversations we had together during that time.
That was after the Tehachapi camp, huh?
Yeah. I thought it was, but yeah, I thought it was Tehachapi, but I couldn't remember. But yeah, so that's probably what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Good
so
old
thank you for that.
Tehachapi.
Thanks for your guidance and
Tehachapi was
all
fun.
that.
Right, you're welcome. You're welcome.
It's awesome.
So, Coach, this is more like basketball related. Like as like when me and Jarrell's time there, basketball has changed so much in terms of like how you play it now. So, I know you said you haven't really changed your coaching style, but can you speak on like how you adjusted from, back then it was like feed the post and then it's like inside out. Now it's kind of just like outside in or just like free flowing. Can you speak on like how you're able to manage these different generations of players? Because I mean, when I was playing, I was not trying to shoot no step back threes. I was trying to like get an and one like layup or something.
You get benched for shooting threes from way out there. You know what I'm saying?
The game has dramatically changed, and and every time we get a new basketball coach, we're now into our fifth coach here.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Their style, their philosophy, and you're playing with that. I run a read and react, and within the read and react, anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part of the read and react is you got to teach. Now, you talked about the step back three. I have a friend who's a personal coach, and he trains kids on the step back three with the toe drag and all this stuff, and I'm like,
So what?
What'd
you call me?
Right? And I'm like, okay, if you're going to teach them that, you got to teach them when to use it.
Yeah.
And so now my philosophy has been the last, couple of years, 6-7 years, is these kids come in with all these different skills, different skill sets. Is we're going to go back to the basics, and now I'm going to teach them when to use it, how to use it, and why you're using it.
Yeah.
That's what I think is lost in the transition from, personal coach, because they're going to teach them, oh, you got to do this, because every NBA player is doing that. We ain't NBA, we're in freshmen.
Yeah.
You can't even make a simple bounce pass, and you want to throw one through your legs.
Yeah.
And so I have to back them up a little bit, and this year has been one where I keep sending them clips and clips and clips of different coaches talking about different things. And one of the ones I saw the other day is that somebody was talking about Kobe. So they watched Kobe for 2 hours in a gym doing layups and drop steps to the baseline, drop step to the middle, the mic in drilled and all that stuff. And he said, I asked Kobe, said, really, Kobe, for 2 hours, you're just doing the basic drills. You're the best player in the NBA in the world. And that's what you're doing. He said, that's what makes me the best player, because nobody do these drills.
Right. Exactly.
And so
Secret sauce.
Right. So I send these things to these kids right now, to my players, and saying, okay, this is why we do these drills. Okay. The other key thing that I do is I don't do just mundane drills.
Mhm.
Every drill that I do is going to show up in the game. And case point today, we had an outlet. It was a 2-on-1, and we didn't make the right pass. And I said, hey, it's the drill. It's the drill. We do this drill every single day. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. I said, so you got to make a pass, and then you're going to get it back.
Yeah.
Early. So I said, that's why I do these drills, because it's drills that we're going to do every single day. I don't do drills with a basketball and you're throwing a tennis ball off the wall and
Yo, that shit popped up on my feed. I'm just like, what is the point right now when you don't even have the IQ to like make the right play? Because some players don't even like. I mean, I have some experience coaching like little kids, nothing like freshmen, but they're like fifth graders, and even like a give and go, like basic cut kind of play. I need to instill that in them, because they're always trying to just between the leg, behind the back, like spin move and trying to do all this crazy shit. I'm like, bro, you can't even like make the right basic IQ play. So I'm glad that you are still teaching these kids. It's just humbling them a little bit to like, yo, I mean, we're not an NBA or freshmen, so get back to the basics.
Right. Oh yeah. IQ is the same. I say, I ask the kids and say, okay, tell me, raise your hand if you play a club, if you played, NJB, AAU, and all these kids raise their hand. And then I was like, okay, raise your hand if you played for over 3 or 4 or 5 years. And they raised their hand. I said, all right, now let me ask you a basic question. What is this line called? That's the out of bounds line. No, son, that's the baseline. So I start off every summer with teaching them what the lines are.
Yeah.
So that they know. So when I'm saying lane line extended, you know what the lane line is.
Yeah.
Equal line extended, you know what it is. It's because they don't know any of that stuff, because all they would do is, hey, go score.
Yeah.
And so, and the biggest downfall that the players these years have is everybody base their game on their offense. I didn't score 15 points, coach. I had a bad game. Oh, shoot, you had 6 steals.
Yeah.
7 assists.
Yeah.
Like that. They everything's based on their offense.
That's crazy. I mean that's crazy how it's switched, because at least for me, I know Jarrell has a different experience, but for me, I kind of like found my role as defense. Like if I'm going to play, I got to show them what I've got on defense. And that's how I base if I can get some charges or a couple steals, like that's how I know I got a good game, not how many points I score. Of course, it'd be nice to like drop a 20 piece, but sometimes that ain't going to happen with all the other players on your team. So how are you going to affect the game in different ways that don't show up on the stat sheet? So it's crazy how like players now are basing it just purely on offense, and you're just confirming it, because your team, your team right now is kind of disappointed when they only have a few points, but you're trying to raise them up by saying, yo, you got 6 steals, so are you tripping?
Right.
I think also like that shows the player's IQ of the sport too. If you're only worried about offense, I heard this quote from Mayweather. He said the casuals only care about offense, but the people who really know boxing or the people who really know basketball, they start caring about the defense. So yeah, those stats, I feel like when a player's aware of their steals and I think I was leading the team with charges at the time when I was playing.
Yeah. You think a lot of people on charges too. I think me and Jarrell tried to compete on who can take more charges at some point.
I think Tim too was up there, right? Tim
Lay was a beast. He was good. He was good at that shit.
I had a player who I asked, a varsity player, why did you take the charge? He said, Coach, well, he was up so high that I didn't want his nuts in my face.
His crush was probably in the bench, so valid. Coach.
Yeah, he went to the bench real quick.
Yeah.
That was his comment. Oh, I didn't want his nuts in my face. I was like, really, take the charge.
Yeah.
Take the charge.
That's the right play to do. You got to do it no matter what.
No,
as a charge taker, it's so crucial, because the offensive player sees that and takes it as a challenge, and it's just, it's almost a trap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we're dealing with now. But it's fun to see, when it all comes together, like my, this year freshman team, doing pretty well. We're 21-3 right now.
Damn.
Wow.
Jeez.
7-0 in league champs.
Nice.
Amazing.
And so it's fun. I had a coach say that it's unfair for me to be coaching freshman basketball.
Proof is in the pudding, Coach.
Hey, Coach, can you also speak on what? I mean, I know you said like that's why you've been staying with freshmen because you want to teach them success. But is there any other reason why you want to just stick to freshmen? Because I feel like you're so good, you could be like a varsity coach somewhere. So yeah, I'm sure there's another reason, deeper reason that you're staying at the freshman level.
Well, I'm there's a lot of controversy behind it, but I applied for the varsity job twice here at Beckman and was denied.
What the fuck?
Hashtag protest. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go stand in front. Hire Galloway.
Last season, we have a first year guy this year, and he got the job over me, and it was frustrating. It was I questioned the loyalty
for sure.
And I said, when you put 18 years of service on with the staff, the students, and the program, you figured, hey, something good would come out of it. And this last time I applied, they didn't give me the job. And, I was walking away, and I had made a promise 2 years ago to a kid who was in the 7th grade. And I told him when he became a freshman at Beckman High School, I would coach him. And he's a freshman this year. And so after being frustrated and questioning, the loyalty of, key players, that made the decision, I decided that I was going to coach this young man because I promised him that I would be there. And so he's on my freshman team, and he's starting on my team, doing an outstanding job. I couldn't break that promise.
Yeah. And that just shows how much of a bigger person you are, like, given that you weren't getting the position you wanted, but that just shows you're a really true player's coach. So that's awesome, man. I'm glad you kept that promise to that young man, and I hope he remembers that for the rest of his life.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah. I always knew something was up with that basketball program, man.
For real.
Always knew. But Coach, despite all that, I mean, starting from the first year at Beckman, I'm so happy for the success that you're reaping with the basketball program. Because when we started, I was in that sophomore team. That sophomore team with Coach Henderson. Oh man, our record was 2 and I don't even know. But sticking through it, seeing all the changes and the new success that the basketball program has reaped from you is it's very cool to see from the outside. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm still having fun. Even the last 8 years, I've been dealing with a lot of different things. Where my mom being sick, and and trying to coach all at the same time. So it's always a tug of war, but when you're winning, it all feels good. And my mom was in the hospital, and I told her I'm going to miss my game, and she told me that she was going to get out of the bed and whoop me.
At that point, you got to listen to moms,
right? Yeah. Them black moms say, hey,
they don't play that shit.
Keep the oxygen cord and whoop me.
Coach, I got a question for you, and this applies to all sports where, there's this thing that we don't realize as high school players that this opportunity is going to come and go really quickly. So what do you what do you do to try to, put that realization in kids? Because I know for sure it passed way quicker than I would have liked it to. And it's just something that's like, it's an idea that is so simple, but we just don't realize that.
Well, I tell them, I say, you never know when it's going to end. You never know, when it's going to be over. And it could be you tear your knee and you're done. A medical condition, and it's over, and I just let them know that, if you're going to do it, give it everything you got, because you never know when it's going to be over. And it's going to go by real quick. And and to watch the kids, from freshmen now they're seniors, and this senior night, and it's their last game or whatever, and they're crying, and the first thing they say, "You're right, coach. It went by fast. I didn't know it was going to be that fast."
It's tough. It's really tough.
I remember that in our senior year, our last game for football versus uni, like when it ended, like it hit me that quick. I'm like, that's it. Like, it's over. I'm not playing another down. I'm not playing another game ever. And I don't know. It sucked. That feeling in that moment of seeing, well, first of all, we lost that game. So it sucked. It felt like crap that we lost. But I mean, it felt even worse realizing, like, damn, we did, like, our goals of making playoffs, our goals of all this, like, it didn't come to fruition, and it's over. It's done. And I think you're right on that aspect, is that we need to, well, not we, but the kids that are in that opportunity need to realize that it's going to come. It's here. Enjoy it. And like you said, give it your all, because you never know when it, like you said, a medical condition or an injury, but at the end, they reach the final game in their senior year, that feeling could hit them. So, I mean, I'm glad that you actually put it in their head that's like, hey, you need, like, give it your all, because you never know when it's going to end.
Right.
Yeah, there's no worse feeling than exactly, and knowing that you could have done so much more to be a better player, and like you're just like, in the back, subliminally, or the back in your mind, you're always thinking, oh, I have time. Next thing you know, it's your last game.
Also, as being those kids back then that used to be told that kind of stuff, it sounds cliche, sounds like a broken record, but it's so true. Like, I used to hear that as a kid and be like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? But like, looking at everybody here, it's like, damn, that shit went by fast.
Too fast.
Right. Yeah.
It still feels like it's yesterday. When you think back on these memories, like I know you, Jarrell and France probably think back at basketball, and you're like, damn, it feels like yesterday. But sometimes I'll talk to Danny about stories about back then, and it's just like, dude, I can't believe it's been that long. And I didn't play my senior year just because things happened with the coach at the time, and I wasn't really happy with what he was telling me. So I was like, I'm gonna quit, but I'm gonna stay and help the team, whatever. But it was at that point throughout that senior year, I was like, man, I kind of wish I was playing again. Like, I miss playing, but the coach told me, you're just going to be practicing. You're not going to play. I was like, so that didn't motivate me to stay at all,
Right. Yeah. I talked to a lot of different coaches about how you approach kids, how you say things. And I said, if you tear a kid down, you got to build him back up.
Yeah.
And I told a coach, a couple of years ago, you never tell a kid he's not going to play. Like, even if he's not going to play, you don't tell him that. You got to. Sometimes that kid needs a program more than the program needs the kid.
True.
Absolutely.
Those are the ones you gotta hold on to, because they're there for a reason. They want to be a part of something. And if you tell them, well, I don't know why you're on the team, you ain't never gonna play. They want to be a part. Now you just tore them down.
Yeah.
Like there was some hope, some life, like that, and they want to be a part of something. And you get coaches that understand that, and you get some coaches that don't. And that's my fight. Any argument where I had to, let's see, get out of my nice guy mode and go into my ghetto mode has been something like that. You know, I have cussed out a few people here and there. You know? That Long Beach Street mentality came out a few times.
For sure. And I'm sure you had every I wouldn't say every right to, but you know, there with you, Coach, I know like there was a definite reason why you did that, and I'm sure you were putting them in their proper place.
Oh yeah.
So you're saying he had every right to?
Yeah, there you go. Words.
Hey, I will say though, from personal experience of coaching kids, like, yeah, you're right. These kids probably won't even play basketball or football after college. They're just, you know, they're athletic, and it's more of a time to just bond with the kids and have that social interaction and have that competitive environment where they can excel and take those traits later on outside of high school. But I don't know. I guess there is some positives to coaches that get hired into schools with that competitive drive of, you know, treating it like the NBA opposed to, you know, it's just Beckman basketball. Like, let's have fun. And if we do well and we excel, then that's almost like an added bonus to what we're doing. So I feel like it's almost bad cop, good cop to a successful team. Would you say, being a part of a lot of teams, or what would you say is the formula for that?
Well, I think in every coaching, aspect, there is good guy, bad guy. You know, bad cop, good cop. You know, because one kid's going to like you, and one kid's not. You know, there's some players that didn't like me at all. Like, why? I don't know. I'm just being me. You know. Yeah. But you know, you just got to roll with that, and you know, this coach is going to yell and scream. Now, I wasn't a yelling and screamer guy. You know, and then if I did yell and scream, everybody knew, oh, there's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, you know, and going back to, you know, the last, you know, being the last game, you know, kids asked me about my last game, you know, my last game of high school. I lost CIF Championship game, you know.
Oh, no.
My last game of college, you know, I tore my shoulder, you know. What did I have? What did I have after that? I've always been an athlete. I've always, you know, that's what I knew. That's what I knew how to do. But what's my fallback plan? You know, and I said, because it ends quick. And now you got to figure out, okay, what am I doing? I can't do this anymore. You know, I'm done. I'm not going to play, you know, anymore. What do you do? So you got to have, you know, you got to have that fallback plan. And I'm all constantly, you know, on the kids about their grades, you know, what are you going to do after sports? You know, if you don't make it to the pros, you know, I did have an interesting one, growing up in Long Beach. And I told the kids this story. I said that, you know, you get a lot of friends that says, dude, we know you're going to make it. We know you're going to make it. Don't forget me when you make it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever hear that.
You know, and I said this to some of my friends because, you know, I was a smart aleck. I thought I was a philosopher. I said, don't forget me when I make it. I said, don't forget me if I don't make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fucking real right there.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
You know, and it comes to it because I didn't make it. And now I was a has-been. I was, you know, you know, we were just telling you that because, you know, we wanted to make you feel good. You know, a lot of that came out of people, you know, and I said, so you got to be able to take the good with the negative and figure out, okay, how do you overcome? And so that's one of the things I tell the kids all the time. You know, people are going to say, hey, you're good at this. Don't forget me when you go big time. You know, I said, because they want a piece of your pie.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But if you don't have a pie, you tell them, hey, if I don't have that, don't forget me. Okay, still include me in all the things that we used to do.
Yeah.
And when they don't, you know who your true friends were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
New phone. Who's this? Who's this again? That's funny. Were you gonna say something, Francis?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Coach. I mean, for everyone to reap the beneficial characteristic traits that they've kind of absorbed from being around you, I feel like you've had potent life experiences that kind of shaped who you are and been able to develop like mental tools in order to handle a lot of these adversity, because talking to you and getting to know some of the hurdles that you were faced with in life, they seem like a lot of heartbreaking moments just because they were so close to you, like passionately, like in sports, you know. How are you able to almost stoically go through that and kind of not let it affect your coaching method and your style? And you mentioned you absorbed coaches. Were there any particular coaches that really made an impact on you?
You know, the first part of your question is I try to not let people read me all the time. Okay. You know, if you know, like I said this, if I fall in front of a lot of people, I'm not embarrassed. I don't show that I'm embarrassed. That was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I might joke about it and say, hey, you know, but you okay? You okay? Did I get a 10 for my landing? If I didn't get a 10, I'm gonna have to do this all over. And so, you know, and people say, well, you got to let it out. You got to let all those emotions out, you know, like that. And every once in a while, I got to step aside and, you know, have my person that I can talk to about my failures or the things that are going on that you know was bad for me. I have a person I can cry on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I have people I can lean on. But is my problems everybody else's problem? No. So if I'm mad at somebody else, why am I taking it out on everybody else? They had nothing to do with it. So my whole philosophy in life is that, you know, you got to see the good out of everybody, like that.
Yes.
And if you have something to share that's going to make them better, my God, share it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so my life experience, even though some of it was negative, how did I make it positive? I shared. This is how I dealt with this situation. You might deal with it a little differently. He might deal with it a little differently, but it made me who I am. And so I'm not going to harp on all the negative. Somebody's held me back. Nobody gave me this. No, I'm going to go get that. I'm working for it. I'm going to work hard to get what I got. And if I didn't get it, oh my God, I'm working harder. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the coolest part of that is my son. You know, you guys probably see pictures of my son on my page or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his sophomore year in high school, on the track team at Fountain Valley, he had a very difficult time like that. And he had a goal. His goal was to be a 40-foot triple jumper like that. And he hit that goal. Well, the Orange County Championship was coming around and he didn't get selected to go.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I knew as a freshman, he went to the Orange County Championship as a freshman. So I knew he was going as a sophomore. He's a 40-foot triple jumper. There's not too many sophomores that do that. And he didn't get selected to go. Wife wasn't happy. He was crying. And I walked on the scene like, okay, what's going on? Like that. And so my wife told me, you need to go talk to the coach. You need to go tell the coach, you know, the coach is treating them unfairly. I don't talk to coaches. I'm like, God, I didn't want parents come talking to me and yelling at me. So I'm not going to yell at a coach. So I told my son, I said, hey, look, you go ask your coach. He came back and he was crying. And I said, what did your coach say? He said, I'm not working hard enough. So I pat him on the back and said, work harder, son.
Mm-hmm.
That was my golden work harder. Mm-hmm. If you think what you're doing right now is hard enough, it ain't hard enough for that person. And that person is making the decision. So you got to work as hard as the person or harder than the person who's making the decision so that can't make a decision that you're not going to go, because they're going to fail you if you don't work as hard as they want you to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been my whole thing. Hey, you think you're working hard? I want a little more. Mm-hmm. If you can't give me a little more, I get to make that decision. So you got to work as hard as the person who's making the decisions. So there's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's what I tell the kids, and so probably why my team always working real hard.
Yeah.
It's almost as if, like, players, or in any sport, anyone who's really good at it, it seems like they don't feel the need to work hard for it because they're so good at it. You see that a lot. And I forgot who said that quote where it's like, hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. And, just with you saying that, that's kind of you instilling that fact. It's like, hey, you may be good, but if you're not working hard, that's not going to get you any further than you want to go. Mm-hmm. So I think it's cool how, like, you didn't try to, like, sympathize in a way that your son expected you to, but you sympathize with him, but you also agreed that he needs to work hard.
Yeah. That was my whole life thing. I didn't win any brownie points from my wife on that one.
You sleep on the couch. Oh, the TV's there.
Your dog and I were best friends that day.
It's funny too. As coaching now, I feel like players pride themselves on making things look easy too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, personally, I had a lot of Steph Curry fans when I would coach kids, and how he hangs the mouse guard off his mouth, kind of moves all lackadaisical. They value that more than, like, diving for the ball, getting their shirts dirty and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
There's no way to really. I mean, I don't have the tools to be like, man, you're being a little softy.
Which reminds me, I remember, like, we were having, tackle basketball, and it was hailing in the outside. And then one of the other players split his chin wide open because he fell on the floor. And it's just thinking, like, damn, I can't believe we went through that. We were getting tackled right out on the concrete.
I'm guessing that doesn't happen anymore.
We don't have to mention that. We don't want to get Coach Galloway in trouble.
It wasn't Coach running it.
It was another coach.
I think it was Shamba, right? It was Shamba.
Mustang.
No, yeah.
But Mustang was cool, so shout out to Mustang.
Yeah, if he's listening.
He's still coaching.
Oh, yeah? Where's he at now?
He's at, I think, Lucerna High School in Whittier area.
Oh, nice. You guys still keep in
very
touch?
Cool.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with him.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Coach, so, with all the changes in football, like the CTE stuff and, the hitting, the tackling, all the stuff we've seen over the past few years, how's that affected high school football?
It changed the way that you tackle and you hit. We had to go through a whole new training on, what is the proper way to tackle. So, you're not getting a concussion or you're not breaking a neck. And it really hit hard to some of the old school coaches because they don't know anything other than put your head in there,
Yeah.
And so it changes things because now everybody's talking about if you do it wrong, if you're teaching the kids the wrong way and you have a kid to have a problem, it's a lawsuit. And it doesn't even have to be the parents that's coming after you. It can be the state,
Wow. That's crazy.
And you lose your teaching credential or you lose your ability to work with kids because now they throw a tag on you called negligence. And if you're negligent, that's a bigger tag. So, so everybody had to learn how to, or have to be retrained on how the proper way of tackling and doing different things. And, and a lot of it's still subjective. It's still subjective,
right? Right.
What about practices? I know back then we would have our 2-days and, we pads and everything and sometimes still go full contact, but like has that changed? Like kind of like the NFL where they do like practices in the summer and then come season, okay, they start practicing normal, or is it still hard in the, let's say, right before the season starts, like, the 2-a-days, hell weeks per se?
Yeah, before you answer that, Coach, if you need to take a minute or you need to wrap it up soon, you can just let us know.
Okay. There's no really such thing as 2-a-days anymore or hell week.
Oh, wow.
Not in this woke
Damn.
culture.
Right. No, it's, and with all the medical things that are going on and players passing away on the field and, with heart problems and everything, that there's so many underlying things that we don't know about a lot of these kids like that. And if you push one too hard like that, you're going to have an incident like that.
Right.
Even with, Mustangs last year,
I remember that.
Yeah.
We were there. We were on
Right.
the field with them.
Yeah.
right.
Right.
I mean, that ruined his career at Beckman, basically. I mean, he stepped down the year after. And through the whole investigation, somebody had to do something wrong. It had to be a coach. Did he make him run too much? Did he not give him enough water? Were you checking on him? Were you looking at him? Was you making sure? There was a lot of questions asked, and it's hard. So a lot of coaches have backed away from a lot of different things just based on that, and then CIF and then the laws start changing on how you can do things. And if you want to call it softened up the game, it has, because you can't make kids, go hard. I mean, you don't see those great hits anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
Man.
you just grow up and you're on a bus going to a game and you got a video of the NFL greatest hits. Never
Right.
people. Oh, that ain't happening anymore.
How far are we from flag football?
It's two-hand touch with pad.
Well, and that's something, you guys are saying now. A couple of years ago, they were talking about football being abolished in the high school level.
Nah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, it was a big thing with that. And then when COVID hit, and then nobody could play football, and then all of a sudden, all these club football teams started popping up like that. And so everybody thought, okay, club is going to take over, almost just like club basketball has almost took over high school basketball.
Right.
Because it's you can do almost anything you want in club, because those coaches are not bound to the rules of the school districts and CIF.
I see.
Like that. There's nobody standing over them saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'll take the chance if this happened. At the school, they're telling you, no, you're not taking that chance. This is what you're going to do. And if you don't do it our way, we're going to fire you. In the club level, it's not. Somebody with money is giving them money to, hey, coach my kid and all these other kids. Like that.
Wow,
and so
that's crazy.
during the pandemic, there was a lot of club football popping up, and kids getting helmets and shoulder pads and practicing and hitting and playing games like that. And it was like, okay, who's regulating these helmets? Are those helmets certified?
Yeah.
Is there any cracks or anything in there? There was nobody doing that.
Wow.
And so that was interesting.
And now
Yeah.
with you saying that, the game has softened up where there's no more hell week or 2-a-days, has there been an increase in injuries during the season? Because, the body just doesn't adjust to it like it used to, I guess. It's just more like, okay, we'll do like practices and then boom, game time.
It's less calloused almost.
Right, exactly.
I don't think it's been an increase. I don't think it's declined either. Like, it's a hit and miss thing. But are the kids prepared? I think they're prepared for light contact, not for another team who's coming out to whack you.
Right.
They're some of those kids are not prepared for that, especially the kids who have never played Pop Warner or played football. They just know that, hey, we we're going to go through this drill. He's going to hit me. He's going to take me down. I'm going to land on that bag, that cushion. And all of a sudden in the game, that kid's coming at 100 miles an hour and he hits you. It's like, oh my God, my shoulder hurts. Oh, my back hurt.
Right. I remember you guys would always say, if you're not going full speed, you're going to get hurt. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And I mean, that's exactly what you're just describing now.
Are those regulations throughout all, like, is that statewide or is that like county? Is it different per county?
It's a lot of the rules are statewide, but then the CIF runs, the high school sports.
Mm-hmm.
And but with that being said, each school district gets to set aside or set their own rules and standards to, as long as they are not lower than what CIF is, they can be higher. The stringence could be higher, but it can't be lower. Like that. And so there were some rules that, like Tustin Unified School District made, like that was like, well, wait a minute, Irvine's doing this, but they didn't want us doing that. And so they can set their own standards.
Okay.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I wonder how the like Irvine schools are doing against like the LA schools. Like, are they just like, oh shit, it's a different breed over here?
Right. But it is so funny because I keep saying we need to take these kids out of their comfort zone. Because the world, when you get out in the real world, the comfort zone is it's gone.
There ain't no comfort zone.
So
that you saying that, Coach, actually just made me think, and I really appreciate all the coaches in football that would always say, like, compare the game to life, because it's always about overcoming that adversity,
Right.
and also having the right people behind you, so that your team, so everyone could work together to reach that common goal. So, I mean, with that, I just kind of wanted to piggyback a little bit, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a whole. You step out of Irvine, is a whole different, involvement. Like
Oh man, it's such a bubble.
Right. Well, this year has been funny because we went to Scrimmage Lakewood High School, and for basketball. And Lakewood is a good city. It's a good city, and it's a predominant, Caucasian city, but Long Beach Unified School District, the kids can bus to any school they want to. Okay, so we're walking into to Lakewood, my little freshman team, and black kids, and they think we're in the hood.
Yeah.
and they're now, used to, they're walking far apart. Now there's this amoeba because they're all together because they're scared to death. And I have you guys might have seen that I broke my foot.
Yeah.
So so I'm on my little knee scooter and I'm rolling and I'm like, okay, why y'all all next to me? So just to watch some of the kids, my kids who are scared, their eyes are big, and then the kids from Lakewood saying, y'all come to play basketball?
Easy pickings.
I ain't even going to the game. Ain't no reason for us to go to the game. They're going to play them, and then one kid was saying, semi-racial. He said, Asian food, noodles.
Oh, no.
So it was like, you know what? And to me, I was like, okay, welcome to life.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to life. And so I made a comment before we walked in the gym. I said, look, guys, my mom taught me something a long time ago. People called her names and said things about her. And she said that she told somebody, I've been called worse things by better people. You don't faze me. So anything these kids say to you walking in here, don't let it faze you. Don't let them think that you're scared of it. Like that, like just walk by like, yeah, whatever. Like that. And so the coolest thing happened. We walked in the gym and somebody knew me. and all I heard was G-Way, G-Way. I say, y'all just got credibility because I'm known.
Street cred.
Right. And so it was the coolest thing to see. Oh, coach, you know people here? I grew up in this area. Yeah. And so that's cool. But they got out of that little bubble, and they realized that, hey, we can play basketball against these kids. We're the same age. We do the same thing, and and we end up winning the scrimmage. Like that, and they felt better about themselves, like that, and they learned, hey, we're not in Irvine anymore. Where's Toto? He's not here. So that was fun, and I think they grew up. With that experience.
Yeah, coaching, seeing a good group of kids play as a team, and then you put them against a team and go full speed game time. They get a little nervous. They start worrying about the external factors, like did somebody see me miss that shot, and kind of overthink the game. And when they finally kind of put it together, it's rewarding seeing it from the side and knowing that you played a key part into getting them to open their eyes and see what the game is for what it really is. So that's cool to see.
And with that story, Coach, going into Lakewood, over the years, has the approach in coaching the kids been different? Because I know back then it was probably different. I think coaches were more straightforward and saying not everything that was on their mind, but sometimes there was things where we're like, damn.
Like, you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah. But now has that changed to where your approach has to be different?
Well, it has, because you got to do everything as if somebody's taping you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what was funny to 15, there would be one that it wasn't funny, and go home and say, look, a coach on video saying this and doing, like that. And that parent takes offense. And so, yes, you have to watch what you say. You have to, you can't be, straightforward, and I don't try to sugarcoat anything. If you're not a good player, you're not a good player,
Mm-hmm.
Football, now there's a lot of, like, for instance, football, you tape practices. Okay, so you videotape your practices now. In basketball, we have a camera in our gym that's called Huddle, and I can videotape all my practices. So if I tell a kid, it's like, look, you're not a good shooter, and then mommy and daddy didn't like that, and they're like, they want to go after you, and I can show the videos. Okay,
Hey,
you shoot from half court every fucking time.
Right? Is this your son? He ain't working hard. Like that, I told him he needs to start running like that, but he said he didn't feel good. Okay, so all of a sudden, because it's game time, he feels good. It's like that, because and one of the hardest thing about coaching is dealing with sometimes with the parents. And you can I have an amazing group of parents this year. Amazing. Okay, it's not always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
I've had parents go after me, trying to get me fired,
Wow.
And you have a 25-5 record, and the kid was a starter, and you still have a parent that's not happy.
Wow.
Right. My other book that I'm planning on writing. I might pull this one out, but it's a book on emails. That you get from parents. I have a lot of good ones. I have some bad ones. And it's I haven't had a title for this one, but it's basically what the parents say.
Yeah.
And I got a whole manila envelope full of emails.
It's your content for your book.
Parents say the darndest things. Good one. Right there.
Parents gone wild.
Yeah. And I was at a game with Laguna Beach versus, I can't think who they were playing against. Now I want to say Woodbridge, and Laguna Beach is winning. They're beating Woodbridge, and I was sitting in the stands because I was watching Woodbridge, and there was another coach from another school sitting not far from me, and the Laguna Beach coach was having an argument with a parent in the stands. It's going back and forth. I'm like, well, wait a minute, you're winning, and the parents are still not happy. Okay. And I'm watching, and I found out who the son was of the parent. That kid's playing, and he's shooting, and he's dribbling, and he's doing everything. And you still are yelling at the coach? Like, I was like, the coach said something that was real. He said, that's why coaches retire, because of parents like you.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
What was funny, the parent said, well, we're waiting on you to retire, so why don't you do it now?
Damn.
Whoa.
And I'm like, this is better than the game.
Coach eating his popcorn in the stands, like, hey, let's go.
I had my drink. I was good. I was like, I was waiting. The referees, hey, y'all back up. Let it happen.
It's a blowout anyways. Let's let them fight.
So that with that, I'm sometimes, you can't please everybody. And that's, and literally as a coach, I am not trying to please everybody. I'm trying to make everybody on the same page. Okay. And that's the hardest thing, is when you have somebody who think they're really better than what they are, you not give them the credit, you get the emails with, sometimes I call those parents snipers, because they sit behind a computer and they generate emails and they want to CC it to everybody in the world.
Yeah.
And then you
warriors.
Right. And then you ask for an opportunity to meet with them, and they don't want to meet with you.
Nope.
But then 2 games later, you get another email.
That's weak.
Yeah, that's the society we're in now. They'll send mad emails about you. Probably, I would guess, be at the games and not even look you in the eye.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I try to make a point now. If something didn't go right, if I see the parent, I'm going to approach them. I'm going to approach them and say, "Oh, I know you're wondering." Like I used to have what is called a 48-hour rule, like that. If you're not happy with my decision during a game, you take 48 hours and sleep over it, and then you can talk to me. You got it, because nothing's going to come out positive with you coming and yelling at me in front of everybody in this gym, like that, or on a football field. So give me 48 hours, and maybe I'll think through it, and maybe I was wrong, like that. But let's get the emotions out of it, like that, and then we can talk like civilized people,
right?
Like and so nowadays, I've been the last couple of years, I just go and approach the parent. Let's start the convo, because I know you're thinking it.
It's always at that point they have nothing to say. All of a sudden, they're like, "Oh no, we're cool."
Yeah. The amount of times I've gotten that one.
It's just like,
oh no, just frustrated.
At the time.
I wanted, which brings up one of the talking points we had written out, was the landscape change. From when we were in school to now, because back when we were in school, I feel like that was kind of the dawn of the smartphones. I mean, we weren't even allowed to have phones, and it predominantly was flip phones.
Yo, I had a Razor, bro. I could not record things for shit.
I mean, seeing the kids and almost the shift in almost like the acceleration of I would say dependability on the technology that we have now, and kind of being integrated in that in our everyday lives. Have these like issues of worrying about being recorded, people just going behind you and emailing instead of just go in front of your face and speaking about it, have these been issues that have increased over time, or were these issues already that you were dealing with? It just there's a medium for it now?
They well, it depends on year to year, but in society with that, it has increased because everybody wants to, when there's a confrontation, everybody wants to take their phone out and record it. So you never saw what was the beginning of the conversation.
True.
Yeah.
You always see what the middle and the end, and what led up to it. And so sometimes you use it to your advantage, like for me in my practices in the gym, there's no phones allowed in my gym. Mommy and daddy knows where you are. Okay. They know you at the school. Okay. So you don't need to bring your phone. I don't need the phones ringing or buzzing or beeping or anything. Okay. So put it in your locker, lock it up. Okay. And that stops a lot of that, but then you take it to your advantage. Everything you send out goes as a general text message to the whole team. And so now when you say, how come you didn't tell me you were going to miss practice? You have a phone. Aren't you part of the text group? I had a parent a couple of years ago who brought her son into my practice. First of all, I was like, why is she in my practice? Okay. She brought me into, don't punish my son. It's my fault that he's late. The car broke down or whatever. They gave me 103 excuses. Okay. I said, okay, well, if it's your fault, did you bring your shoes? Because somebody's got to run. And, I was joking, but I said, he's going to take whatever punishment it is anyway. Like that. She said, well, it was my fault. Why would you do that? I said, because of his communication skills. They're on their phone all day long. How many times did he text you, Mom, where are you? Mom, where are you? I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. So he didn't take a time to take 30 seconds to text me and say, Coach, I'm going to be late. I said, so his communication skills is terrible to me. Right. So I'm going to work on his communication skill, and whatever that has to happen, it's going to happen. I said, because he has my cell phone number, because it's part of the text. He has my email address for the school. He has my phone number for my the phone on my desk. So there's no reason for him not to be able to communicate. So you can't use, well, it's my fault. I said, so he didn't take the time to communicate to me. And she said, oh, okay. So I use it as my advantage. I don't get 100 emails from the parents right now and saying, okay, what time is the game? What time is practice? What time is this? What time is that? Why? Because of the smartphone. I have a team mom. I send her, I have this thing called the Freshman Weekly. And it has Monday through Saturday, what we're doing and when we're doing it. I send it to her. She sent it out to all the parents. The same email, the same text I sent to my team mom, I sent it to the players.
It seems like a double-edged sword now, but I find it funny that you have the footage of the shooting footage of certain kids in order to show parents that they suck and they're not really working hard. So I see how it's being utilized both ways.
Right.
Just like coaches used to say back then, the eye in the sky never lies. So I remember during one play, coaches would be like, why didn't you do this? And like, yeah, I did it, coach. I did it. And they're like, nope, rewind. And same thing. And then they'd always say that the eye in the sky never lies.
So, Coach, to cap off the coaching stuff in Beckman, you coach basketball and football. Is there one that you favor more than the other?
Well, to be honest with you, early when you guys were there, I was a track coach.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I love coaching track more than I did football and basketball.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I stepped away from track because I just having kids at the time, and they were young, and I was away from home so much. So track was the easiest one to step away from. Which now, it's my son's a track star.
Right.
But I love coaching track. Between football and basketball, basketball is more personable because you're dealing with, how many you have on your team, 15, like that. In football, you have, 60. Okay. Basketball is always on the move. So your strategy is moving because the clock don't stop. Like there's no 30 seconds in between to come up with a new player to change your defense like that. It's all on the fly. So your strategy is being played out every single second, not 6 seconds. And then you get a 30-second break. And then you got another 6 seconds. That's football. Like that. And then you can change and you're watching, okay, this guy is subbing in right now. And so we're going to go to a 4-3 or we're going to run, fly because they got this guy in. No, in basketball, things are moving so fast that I love that part of the thinking part of the game. Okay. And it's so interactive, because it's close and personal. Okay. You're not yelling 50 yards down the field. It's right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one more thing on coaching. Being a coach now in this modern landscape of basketball, there's these, I call them glitch moves. You mentioned the step back, but James Harden kind of screwed up the game too with the Euro step. Back when Francis and I were playing, we had Manu Ginobili who was doing that, but it was, it wasn't really utilized. But later on, we've seen kids putting that in their arsenal now. Has the referees kind of evolved into learning to call those or letting certain ones go? Because I know they kind of play in the gray area of traveling, not traveling, right?
It's to most referee, if it looks weird or unorthodox, they will call it a travel.
Okay.
If it looks smooth, because I've seen the same move with a kid who just fluent, look like he should be in ballet, do it, and it's good. And then the kid who's stumbling through it, and he's awkward, and it's a travel.
But it's steps.
That kid who's a robot like that, he got called for traveling, but the kid who looked like a ballet like that didn't get called for travel. The same move. Nothing different other than he makes it look good. Oh, you make it look like a box.
Interesting.
So it's the same thing. And so it's all subjective as well. The biggest one is the gather step now.
Oh, my God.
Right. Everybody's talking about the gather step. Well, okay, you get that in the NBA. Depending on where you're playing at in college, you might get it. In high school, there is no such thing as a gather step. And so I got to explain this to personal trainers who's teaching the kids this. That's right. In high school, they call that a travel. Okay, but in the NBA, we're not in the NBA. It's different rules. I said NBA, you get 8 seconds to get it across the half court line. In high school, you get 10. In the NBA, there's 24 seconds on a shot clock. In high school, it's 35.
Yeah.
I said, so I always got to point out the differences because these kids are all trying to learn everything they do on the professional level.
Right.
Like I said, you want to throw the ball between your legs and over your shoulder, and you can't even throw a simple little bounce pass. Level down to where you are. You're 14. Yeah. They're grown.
Yeah.
Is it frustrating? Because I know we spoke to a lot of other coaches, and being coaches ourselves, these kids that we're coaching now, they also have their own personal coaches that they go train with after. And some of these personal coaches these personal trainers, they kind of market themselves by putting out there that they've trained certain NBA players. Right. And so they go back to your practice and they go, they do, let's say they do this gather step. And then you say, you're not allowed to do that in high school. And they kind of value their personal trainer more because it's like, oh, well, he coached Steph Curry. What do you know? You know what I mean? Is it frustrating to kind of deal with that now? Because I feel like that's kind of a more modern problem in the traditional coaching environment.
No, yeah, it's frustrating. It's and not even just that. It's a lot of high school coaches don't like club coaches or don't like personal trainers. Now, let's say personal trainer is actually working for you. Okay. And so what I've done, I have gone out to one of the personal trainers that I know very well. And I told him, said, well, if you're going to teach this, teach him how to use it and teach him what we do at Beckman for Beckman basketball if this kid is coming here.
Oh, wow.
And so I try to reach out to them and say, okay, hey, like right now there's a couple of club teams where the kids are going to come to Beckman. So, you know, I hated going to coach club during the pandemic. I needed something to do. So I went out to those club teams and I started working with them. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Jeez.
And so, and, you know, and I allowed them to come in the gym with my freshman team and actually work out with them. Okay. And, because those kids are going to be coming to Beckman anyway. So I wanted them to learn what we do. It's real frustrating, you know, when the kids say, well, this is what my personal coach do. I said, well, is he putting you in the game? No, I don't think you're going to do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
Because if he's going to put you in the game, go play for him. You don't have a team. Exactly.
Yikes.
I had a mom who was not happy with the playing time of her son a few years ago, and so she brought me 5 letters from the kid's club coach, from his personal trainer, and all these things. And so I read all 5 of them, and I never said anything back. She finally saw me and she said, so what do you think of the letters? Did you read them? I said, I read them all. Yep. Okay. So what do you think? I said, oh, it was all good. She said, well, what do you mean? Okay. I said, well, you know, I said, you got to be able to read between the lines. I said, one of the coaches said, your son is going to be an outstanding ball handler with more time and dedication. I said, with more time and dedication. I don't have more time. I have right now.
Yeah.
Right now, he's not a good ball handler.
Yeah.
And there's 3 that's better than him. Okay. And I just, you know, without pulling out the letters, I just went and broke it down to her what they were saying. I said, with more hours in work, he's going to be an outstanding shooter. I see. So that personal trainer wants you to pay him for more time. I said, he wants more time to work with him so he can get more money. I said, you're not paying me. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the truth. He's not a good shooter. And the coach is right. With more time and effort, he's going to be a good shooter. I'm going to try to help him. But right now, he's not a good shooter. Therefore, I have guys that are better than him. And that's why they're playing. Okay.
Facts.
Wow. That's
she didn't like it, but she understood it. Mm-hmm. Well, can you just give him a chance? Give him a chance every day in practice. And all over the backboard.
Yeah.
That's funny.
No,
that's awesome. So I wanted to shift to like the current sports landscape now too. Do you have a favorite team in the NBA or in the NFL?
I've always been a Lakers and Bulls fan, you know, and
nice.
Bulls is because I was born in Chicago, Illinois.
Oh wow.
So I've always been anything of Chicago, like that. But then, you know, I had season seats for the Lakers for a few years before I got married. And then y'all understand when you get married, your money ain't there anymore. And so I had great seats. So I've always been able to have good conversations with Laker players because of where my seats were, you know, like that. And I can talk basketball, I can talk their language. And so I've always been a Lakers fan, and a Bulls fan. And if they played against each other, you know, I got to go with the hometown. Like that. And football, always been a Bears fan. And you know, from decades to decades, some of the other teams changed. I loved San Francisco for a while because of Montana. I loved the Dallas Cowboys because they had a corner named Emerson Walls that I idolized. I mimicked everything that he did, and so I would watch him play. And so, in order to watch him play, I had to be a fan.
Right.
And so I would attach myself to certain players. At this time, right now, I don't watch much football. I don't watch much football. And basketball, the same thing. I'll watch a quarter and I'm flipping channels. And then I'll come back, okay, because basketball is not interesting until the end of the game anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So with your two favorite basketball teams being the Bulls and the Lakers, so we have to ask: is it Jordan or is it Kobe?
Or is it LeBron? Yeah. Just to add to that,
I'm just kidding.
If out of those three players, if you had to pick a player, draft a player to build a team around, which one would you pick?
To build a team around, probably Kobe.
Let's go.
And the reason why I said that, I got a chance to meet Kobe a lot of time and had great conversations with him and understanding his philosophy and his mentality. His work ethics was true to form. It was better than anybody. And there was something that I love watching Jordan, don't get me wrong, but there was something that Jordan did and said that rubbed me the wrong way as being, I was an inner city kid. Okay. He made his shoes and his likeness and everything became big, and it was so expensive that a lot of kids like me couldn't afford to buy those things. Okay. And so then when the announcement was that the NBA could not sell anything of Jordan, a lot of the products that the NBA sell goes back to the players union and to the retirement fund and all this other stuff, and so the NBA, and I get it, Jordan didn't want the NBA making money off of him, but he did not allow that. So you couldn't go to to the Bulls game and buy a Jordan, shoes or jersey or something like that. You couldn't get it because the NBA was not allowed to buy anything. That was the way he was. So everything was, to him. Shaq made his shoes and Shaq made them affordable and available for everyone. I look at those things as characteristic of, is it about me or is it about everybody else? And he went in for the money, which everybody, would do or should do. But there was so much, it rubbed me wrong, just the wrong way,
Right.
And it's not that I'm trying to buy Jordan shoes, like that. I didn't think the basketball shoe made me a better player or made me a worse player.
Right. Plus, Shaq was able to make, probably plenty of money also, but he was catering to a wider audience because he made them affordable.
Right.
So
right.
It just gives you a taste of their character a little bit.
Right. And just, I have a ball in my equipment room that says to Coach G from Kobe and sign number 8. Like,
oh damn.
That's awesome.
I never asked him for that. I was with somebody that was with, and a guy named Michael Weber, who grandfather lived around the corner from Kobe. And I was over there helping them with something, and Kobe stopped to talk to him, and Kobe remembered me from being a Laker fan, and he told a story. Because he said, I know you, and then he told me why he remembered me, and it was a funny story like that. And so he was signing some stuff for Mikey, and he asked me, he said, do you want anything signed? You want anything? Well, I'm here. I'll sign anything for you, like that. And I said, no, I'm not an autograph guy. The only autograph I ever need is my mom. That's my idol.
Just dope.
And 2 weeks later, Mikey comes up to the school and he brings me a basketball. He said, "Hey, this is from Kobe," like that, and it said to Coach G from Kobe, like that. He said Kobe thought that was the coolest comment that he ever heard.
That's dope.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm taking that, Coach.
And then me being me, I didn't put it in a case. I didn't put it in a jar. I didn't put it anything like, oh, it's Kobe, like that. Sitting on the thing. And so guess what? It weathered the basketball. So you know how the leather's starting to peel off of it. The writing is starting to fade. You know, and everybody was like, when Kobe passed away, it was like, do you know how much that will be? You know how much? No, I ain't selling it. I wasn't planning on selling it. I didn't even ask for it. But it's sitting in my equipment room. Like,
yeah, and at least you know where it came from.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you sell it, it kind of the value diminishes too, because it doesn't really do justice to that moment. That's pretty crazy. Right. You know, that was a personal moment for me. I'm not giving that up, but you know what? I should have put it in the case.
Looking back, huh?
Yeah, Jermaine, you know anybody that does like touch-ups? They could probably touch that up, maybe.
I think that thing's too far gone.
That's funny. Do you have a thought on the new evolution of basketball with the stretch out threes? Fives pretty much taking threes now, pull up threes, and it being kind of a way. Francis and I had an argument and a debate about basketball about you need a big man to win championships, and I think I won that debate. I don't think you need a big man anymore.
I mean, I still think you need a big, but the bigs now have a certain skill set that they didn't used to have in the 90s and early 2000s. I mean, look at the Bucks. Like Giannis is their big, but he's not a traditional like back down guy. But he also can't shoot. So I think I won that debate.
Well, it's every big want to shoot threes nowadays.
Yeah,
everybody want to be a 3-point shooter. You know, and that's what they work on. You know, you got big guys that can shoot 3-pointers but can't make a layup.
They can't even do a drop step no more.
Right. And so that part of the game has been lost, you know, and I talk about Tim Duncan, you know, Mr. Fundamental.
Oh wow, yeah.
Right.
And you know, and you know how his game evolved, you know, like that. He was unstoppable. And then I sent a clip to one of my bigs and some of my other kids that play guard, and they want to emulate everything that an NBA player do. And I sent them a clip of Kobe working with Akeem Olajuwon.
Legendary clip.
Right. And I said, just because you're a 3-point shooter don't mean you can't learn this. Okay, because you become now more valuable because you got a little guy guarding you. Now you can go in the post, give me the ball, and you have the good footwork for it. And I said, so, and case in point, our last game we played Portola, like that. We had a kid who plays the wing. You know, he's a thicker, stronger kid. I call it. He played bully ball. I like the way he played. He's gonna run you over.
Yeah,
he's gonna knock you down. We had a little guy on him, and he was ball in the post, and I'm yelling at my guard, give him the ball. So he dropped Steph in turn and sent this kid, you know, sliding out of bounds. You know, the referee called the player control, you know, like that. And I was like, you call it because it's the little guy? Like that? Yeah. I said, tell the little guy, don't stick my little big guy. Okay. But he wanted the ball. He was like, shoot. Why? Because, and it's funny, he was one of the kids I sent the clip to.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
He was one of the kids I sent the clip to. Like that. And he thanked me for it, you know, like that. Yeah, I'm working on my footwork, coach. I can play we don't need a 5. I can be the 5.
Yeah.
That's a breakthrough.
I was like, okay, when 6'2" is guarding you, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
So it's funny because, you know, everybody wants to specialize in the long threes. And one of the worst things that ever happened is that the 3 became popular because the little kids are trying to shoot threes and they're not strong enough. So guess what happened to their shot? It's a throw.
Yeah.
It's a throw. So now all the fundamentals of shooting has gone.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to reteach it and get them out of their habits.
Yeah, so true.
My last question on basketball is, do you think LeBron belongs in the GOAT talk of the basketball landscape?
In so many ways, yes. In so many ways, no. Like, there's a lot of fundamental things that I see LeBron do that's just totally wrong. You know, I was pointing this out. You know, I run a play on free throws. Like, when we have a bad free throw shooter shooting, we're trying to get the rebound, but I run a play in order to get a lot of rebounds. Okay. And I said this to the team. I said, if this kid plays like LeBron, we should get this rebound every time. And it's like, what do you mean? If he plays like LeBron, he should be playing in NBA like that. I said, oh, no. Because watch LeBron box out on the free throw line. He sticks his hand and touches a guy in the chest. There's no body. There's no banging. There's no nothing like that. And I said, that's fundamentally not sound.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody watching that, Coach, why I got to box out? He don't box out. Well, he's getting paid millions of dollars not to box out. You're going to sit on my bench. So, you know, so with that being said, there's a lot of things that he does very well. You know, like I don't think he commands the total respect of his team. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you know, Michael Jordan did, because, you know, there was a lot of negativities and there was a lot of positive that went with it. I just don't see that characteristic with everybody, you know, saying, okay, you know, LeBron's running the show, or, you know, I've seen him times where he didn't get the call and he's down there yelling and screaming at the referee.
Oh my God, I hate when he does that shit.
You know, and I'm looking at, you know, Jordan, who he didn't get the call. He's running back on defense and he's blocking somebody's shot.
Yeah.
You know, Kobe was the same way, you know, and Magic the same way, you know. But I don't see him doing it all the time. And there's times when he does. They call it the LeBron chase down, you know. And everybody shows that one, you know, but he doesn't do it all the time. He's not consistent. He's not consistent.
He takes plays off almost.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of separates you from the GOAT talk, because this new landscape of, you know, minutes restriction and him being towards the end of his career, so he's trying to more preserve his body. I mean, fucking Kobe Bryant hit the free throw after he tore his Achilles. Like, you know, minute restriction.
LeBron got carried off for cramps.
So yeah, that is true. And I always thought LeBron was more, he needed a sidekick. Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving,
Mo Williams.
I felt like that playoff run where Kyrie and Kevin Love went down, and I thought he was playing the best basketball he's ever played. He really needed that ring, I feel like, to solidify that, hey, I could do this on my own. But I agree. I think LeBron's the name right now, but because he's the name, there's a lot of spotlight that's bringing him in contentions of being one of the GOATs.
Right. Well, you know, I would love to see him, you know, become the all-time leading scorer, you know, break that record. You know, that's an accomplishment, you know, and I would love to see it. And, you know, and if he does that, well, everybody gonna say now you got to have him in that talk. He's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA history. Like, you got to have him in that talk now, you know. But just because of how it's been done and who he is, you know what? I want to see it. I want to see it. Yeah. I want to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being the great person that he is, being at the game and going over and shaking LeBron's hand and give him a hug, because that's what Kareem would do.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we're heading on to that 2-hour mark. I know you're a busy guy, so we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. But before I wrap you up, like everyone else here, I'm sure, I wanted to give you your flowers because I never really got to really thank you after high school and say thank you for everything you've done for me and everyone here in this podcast. You've done a great deal for us growing up and learning the game, whether it was Jarrell and Francis with basketball, myself, Danny, and Pat with football. You've kind of affected us in ways that it's kind of hard to put into words, but just know that up until this day, like, I'm glad that we can connect. Like, I'm glad I could see you on Instagram doing your thing still, and I'm glad you're still at Beckman. It just shows how valuable you are to that program.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say again, thank you for everything you've done for us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you,
Thanks for
Coach.
your time. Much love to you.
One last thing, Coach. What's your skincare routine, my guy? Because you
I
look
know you haven't aged. Look at us.
and you look the same. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, black don't crack, baby.
You heard from him. Look at us. I mean, look at Jarrell. He has to wear a mask.
Yeah, man. I went through this whole skin routine.
Who the hell is that?
Thank you again, Coach. We appreciate your time, bro.
Thank you,
No
Coach.
problem.
Yes, thank you
you.
so much, Coach. It's good
Yeah.
to
Thank
see
you guys for having me on.
Before letting
Yes,
you off,
sir.
though, just go ahead if you want to tell us where everyone can find you, and if you have anything upcoming that you want to share with us before we let you go.
Really, I'm here at Beckman. I'm out of work right now, and till March 1st until I can fully walk on my foot again. And I know you can't see it, but I got a big old. I took the boot off, but I broke my foot December 4th and had major surgery on it. So I'm scooting around in a knee scooter. I'm just starting to use the crutches. I'm just starting to drive again. But just coaching football and basketball. I don't have any, comedy dates coming yet.
When's the book coming out, Coach?
Where's the book? Yeah.
Yeah. Shit parents say.
All those things are probably going to be in the works when I retire, which is in about 5 or 6 years. And then I got to find time to do that because when I retire, I want to travel the United States and go to every national park in the United States.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I taught environmental science, for 4 years, and I talked about the national parks. I've been to a few for 3 or 4 days. I want to go 7-8 days at every single national park in the United States, and then I'll travel abroad.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Man, with a plan.
Well, I hope we can all visit you one day. If you love us, we'll like to go see you at school. It's been a while since we walked through those
Is
halls.
it still the raspberry tea?
Raspberry iced tea, and
There you go.
I love the vanilla iced coffee from McDonald's.
Stay
Back in a
live.
cup.
Can't go wrong with that one. I agree with you on that one, Coach.
All right, then. Well, thank you again, Coach. We appreciate your time, and I hope your foot gets better sooner than later.
Yeah.
So thank you again. You had Jarrell, Danny, myself, and Francis and Patrick. Thank you, Coach Galloway. We'll see you
Love you,
again.
Coach.
All
Thank
right.
you, Coach.
So you coach.
Coach.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No, may not look like it, but I used to have a pair of Shaqs when I was a kid.